Hello, everyone. Welcome to the finals for the Game of Thrones tournament in Metagames Unlimited in Missouri. I am Steven.
And I'm Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Hola.
How in the world are you?
I'm good, and you're not doing so bad yourself. Over on the right, in the finals, you find yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel very lucky and certainly fortunate to be here. That's me on the right there, Steven Wooley, and then we have Sandy on the left. He came in all the way from New York. I know he had a long drive to get down to Springfield for this tournament, and found himself in the finals running the kind of deck that you would see rush-wise. I think if you're going to run a rush deck in the meta right now, this is the one to do it. It's Conquest, and it's Baratheon Martell, or Marathian, or Bartell, as some people call it. But this is basically, you're running Martell for To the Spears and a lot of their Martell-only cards. And then your Baratheon reducers like Seat of Power and Narrow Sea give your opponent power because they are now prized, which really speeds up a rush deck, allows you to actually take power with the power challenge early on. Combine that with Renown from a lot of the heavy hitters for Baratheon, as well as the Red Viper and To the Spears, and you have yourself a winning get a ton of power combo.
Yeah, and they typically open with like an Artist Reduction.
Yep. Pretty standard. You know, it
Turn
reminds
twos
me
to the
so
Spears.
much of the old Martell Maesters deck. It does it differently, but it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Open with Artist Seduction, something else to the Spears, and try to push the game in on turn 2. And this is a classic Martell opening, right? Artist Seduction into the Spears really allows you to get in there. No Valor concerns, no worries.
Oh man, 5-card setup. That's not bad.
And yeah, let's check out the setup. We got Windy, Tycho, Iron Mines, Gatehouse, Sunset Sea. It's about as good as you could want there. And Sandy doing all right himself. He's got a Lost Spearman, a Refugee. That is the Knight of the North, the can't defend with more than one icon, which is a real bummer.
Especially against a rush deck, right?
Yeah, Marcella, and then Narrow Sea, the single reducer over there. So there's a lot of interesting plays in this game. Spoiler alert, it's an interesting game, so keep watching if you like those kinds of games. But there's some interesting plays, and as a Greyjoy player, you know, we're always concerned with economy and thinking about how to best our opponent's economy. And I'm looking at one Narrow Sea and thinking, if I can shut that economy down, I can probably prevent him from getting any of his renowned guys out. And we'll see how that works out for old Stevie.
Yeah, and that's pretty rough too, because he has
Summon and Artist Seduction, yeah. It's about what you'd expect.
What are you thinking here?
I'm going to go get one of two tools. This is the answer. I think every deck has to have at least one or two answers to this kind of build. Mine is either King Balin's Host, which turns off all keywords, and that can single-handedly shut down a lot of decks like this. Or Alaris, who can single-handedly shut down an entire challenge type, usually the Power Challenge or the Intrigue Challenge if they haven't done it yet. So there's some good tools here, and I'm curious what I'm going to get. Looks like the Host there, and this is
And you're going to have just enough to play this guy on turn 1, right?
I can hardcast this guy, yeah. Now I'm hoping that I have a king or a queen in hand, and that would help me out tremendously, but if worst comes to worst, yeah, I'm just going to throw this guy out. I've got a save. I've got 2 saves on the board, so I don't have to worry too much about him dying.
Now, here's my question. Does King Balin's Host turn off prized?
It's weird. Yes.
Okay.
Last I checked, yes, it does. But as I said, don't ask me on Game of Thrones rules.
I think
I just play.
The plot that turns off keywords, a lot of players playing a lot of prize cards have been using to not, like, if they think their opponent's going to Valor, they can play that and not have to suffer the consequences.
Yep.
So that could be really interesting too.
It is true.
A lot of times these rush decks, I know I actually played Sandy earlier in the day, and my Valor actually, I'm pretty sure it was my Valor that basically got him to almost winning, and then he did win. I didn't really have a way out. But.
Yeah. All right, so my first action, this is where you have to question. I'm going to go Nightmares, that Narrow Sea, and I don't know if I stick by this decision to this day or not. It's 2 less gold that he's going to get this turn to play out. My hope is that maybe he didn't draw into any economy, and that would pretty much just win me the game if he doesn't.
He also can't.
There's another Sunset Sea. All right.
He also can't
pop it again.
Pop it to give you power to steal.
Correct.
So that's I think that's an okay play.
A lot of factors there, and it's difficult when you don't know what he's got in hand. Economy just coming out the gate here. 4 introduction already on the board. And we're probably just going to play the Host in there.
Yep.
There
I
he
feel like
is.
that's so correct. If he doesn't have a Nightmares here, it's going to make his game a lot tougher than it normally would have been.
Yes, indeed. And then what else? Looks like we're sitting on 2 gold. And you notice I had Cold Hands in hand there, and that's going to be huge next turn.
Just removing power from
just
the board.
remove whoever's got the Renown, even though Host should prevent that unless there's a Nightmares or something coming down. And just any number of threats that I can deal with Cold Hands. All right, plays another Narrow Sea. Looks like I'm considering another Nightmares and not quite certain. You never know really.
Do you have another Nightmares?
I think I do. I do hold the Nightmares. Yeah, it looks like I do. For what comes out or to prevent it from ever coming out in the first place. So, again, a lot of decisions to be made here. Don't know the right ones. And it looks like Sandy's going to be just fine. So that's what you don't want, right? That's kind of the... Yeah. It's kind of like the Queen's Gambit in chess. It's like, well, sometimes it's exactly what you want.
That's one really nice factor when you run the Conquest deck is that you can have 6 Cs in play.
Yes,
or
you
in your
can.
deck.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Those odds are good.
And now Sandy and I played in Swiss. I got a pretty rough start in that game, and he did beat me, just swept me as the rush does. This one got some economy out and got the host out. So it's looking a lot better. And just had a tough game against Mark Downing before this, and then game before that against Greg Atkinson. So there was a lot of, it was like a water slide of death coming into this finals round. At any point in any of those games, I could have just lost it. So it's pretty high pressure right now.
I really, that King Balin's host here is just so money. That's going to be so much trouble for him. You got the 2 saves on the board. I don't know how he gets around that. Like, really with this rush deck, if they get to the Valor, if your opponent gets to the Valor, you're just kind of in a bad spot.
Yeah. I think, he's looking at a lot of things, and there are answers that sometimes these decks include. Anything from Distraction, if you're really worried about it, to Nightmares, obviously, is probably a 3 of in this Marathian deck, is my hope. I don't know how it's actually built. And to be honest, I think this is probably my fault, certainly in the Swiss round, for not knowing how to play against this deck better. I just haven't seen it enough. It's the kind of deck that I just don't enjoy. So yeah. I don't build it. I don't try to learn how it works. And that's probably to my detriment ultimately. Oh, and he calls it thinking. Really sad to see that. I'm going to hope that nope, but he does take it.
Yeah,
it's bad. It's going to make my Valor worse, and it also means a lot of cool responses I might have obviously can't be used. Saving a Summer Sea, and now you got to wonder, was that the right call, Nightmaresing that Narrow Sea? Is like, could you get one more thing out that would be a problem here? And I just don't know. I don't know the right call.
Yeah, it's tough.
There's Mel.
If he didn't draw into other seas, he would have been in a much tougher position. So I think it's fair. I think it's a fair call.
Mel comes out. There's going to be extra power for unopposed intrigue and power challenges, as well as winning dominance. So these
Get that Cold Hands ready.
That are very important. Yes. Cold Hands is very important there. But remember, we just saw he calls it thinking. And that's going to be a problem.
That is a problem.
So it essentially, either you force the he calls it thinking on the Cold Hands in hopes that you have something better to provide that won't be canceled later on, or you try to get that he calls it out of hand with an intrigue challenge. And of course, I love the intrigue challenge, so we'll see what happens. Looks like it's going to my challenges phase here.
I think you may have just passed.
Sandy's challenge phase. I think I did just pass, yeah.
Yeah, it's really just if you get to Valor, you can probably win this game. No reason to get more power in your house from Steel next turn.
And that's Night of the North, and so now you're looking at this, it's like, well, what if you Nightmares Night of the North instead of the sea? Is that better? Does that ultimately yield you more? And I think there's a lot of questions there, like I said.
I mean, the tough part of that is, like, if you do, he probably just does a different...
There may be even worse things out.
Yeah.
It's just...
You just don't know.
And this is why Game of Thrones, if anyone's ever had questions about, is this a deep game? Is there decisions to be made? Yes.
Yeah.
Just that simple thing of what do you Nightmares could be the difference between you winning and losing this game. So it's very small, important decisions that are made during the entire game. And look, already 3 power just off that. Unopposed for Mel gets 2 additional, and then 1 off the house.
Not much you can do about that.
And Sandy looking at his other challenge types, probably going to throw in maybe a military. Could also be an intrigue there.
Military with a spearman, I mean, he's kind of just like wanting you to block, right?
Yeah, I have to oppose it and then probably save. And then I have to oppose the intrigue challenge as well because Mel's ability is too good here. But then do you win dominance? And that's the constant math that's having to go on here. Right now, if things are even, then I will win dominance because I have 1 gold and 8 strength on the host up. and we'll see. All right, and he's going to cancel the save, and we certainly talked about this after the game. Probably looking to get strength for a dominance win here, but also he calls it thinking a critical card to make things work out for Sandy in the end. I think.
Yeah, I mean, he just used he called it thinking to maybe get dominance and kill the Dampier's Drown.
Yeah, it's just not quite the trade that you'd hope for. But again, like I said, I think he's looking at dominance here. With these rush decks, your mindset is really how can I get the most power possible, and so he's looking for that, and we'll see if it pays off. It also lets Marcella come in for a 3 strength intrigue and win it, even if I oppose, and that's exactly what Sandy's going to do, it looks like. That is going to give me dominance, which I'm happy about. And a lot of hard decisions here.
Absolutely.
This is really where I want to be as a player playing against this kind of a rush deck. It really is. And we'll oppose and lose a card. And hope it's not a really good one, because now that he calls it is gone, Cold Hands is going to be a boss here.
No way! Oh man, that's brutal. Look at your face though, stone cold, not even moving.
Yeah, but I was not pleased.
Yeah, that's maybe why it's not moving.
I was not pleased, and the refugee goes away. So this is really good.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, honestly,
this great.
Of all the starts I've seen against this deck, this is not bad. You have a way to shut off Renown.
When you're at 3 power coming into turn 2, I think you've done a good job.
Absolutely.
As the rush wall, trying to maintain here.
Yeah, and so this is where you typically see To the Spears. All these guys he's got on the board. He's going to do it. But not having Renown is going to be massive, I think. That's usually what pushes them way over the edge.
Certainly.
They just get to like 25 power because they have 4 Renown guys out.
Yeah. The question is, does Sandy have a Nightmares? And if he does, this turn looks great for him. Not packing any cancels except for King of the Isles here, so...
I mean, I will say it's nice. Even if he does Nightmares your host, you still have an 8 strength guy.
Yeah, it's a dude. He's gonna block. Just hope that there's no stealth, you know.
Yeah.
Which King Stannis and that kind of thing is.
Right now you've got 11 strength power on the board, so even a blank host here wouldn't be horrible because he's gonna have to commit a lot to win a power challenge.
Except for that Knight of the North.
Yeah. Haha. Zing, and he doesn't kneel.
Which is another beautiful thing about Cold Hands there, right? Is you bring Cold Hands out, can block Knight of the North. And that single-handedly shuts down a lot of this deck. So that intrigue pull was just absolutely money for Sandy. Great pull, Sandy. Great pull. All right, so -2, and then a C is 2 more. Here comes the Viper, which is what you can expect. He is not kneeling because of To the Spears, and then another Lost Spearman. A Lost Spearman on To the Spears turn. It just makes too much sense.
And a Viper.
And a Viper.
It's wild.
Yeah. So you're looking at this, and it's not awful still. Red Viper, just 3 for Renown. Assuming that you win the challenges, Nightmares really is going to play a big role here.
Yeah.
If it's there, it's there. If it's not, oh man, it looks great for me.
You've got to assume he's going to be capable of winning the challenges because he just attacks with everything.
Yeah. Sandy's looking at this board, and I've got to believe that he's smart enough to realize that I played To the Spears. I obviously have a way to deal with that host.
Yeah.
So what can I do on the back end? And I'm looking at Vic in hand here, and I really like Vic here. Could be a great addition, getting a 2-claim power challenge back at Sandy. It could be a big deal. And there he goes.
Plus, he looks awesome.
He does look great. He loves that axe.
Looking good, Vic.
2 gold for Cold Hands. Wait. And the Marauders. No Winter, but we're just getting it ready. That should let me explode into the next turn if I need to.
Yeah, it just... Wintertime Marauders, it's one of those cards that we talk about where...
There's
the Nightmares.
Yep.
Where we talk about, even if it's not doing anything massive right now,
yeah,
it feels like it's so massive that you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, it feels like a problem. All right, Sandy now figuring out how to piece this puzzle together. Kicking it off with the power challenge. Obviously, I can't defend that. And he's going to put Melon for the Renown, of course, as well as the Viper.
Yeah.
And unopposed would give him an additional power there, which is a real bummer.
That's intense.
Now, of course, the challenge is still only 2 strength. I think the Viper is actually immune to that, though.
Oh, really?
It's a weird thing. I think it was kind of clarified in the FAQ as far as character abilities, passives, etc. So don't take my word for it, but
don't believe me. I'm just in the finals.
Yeah. Then again, it's a weird kind of effect. So.
Yeah. A lot of those Edge Thrones rulings get.
There it is. There's nightmares on Mel. That's gonna help.
That's pretty big.
So that's pretty much it. That's a power down, and then another power for renown, and then another power for renown. So it's really -3 power on the nightmares, which is.
That's an okay exchange.
It's a good exchange. Yeah, it's what you want.
I don't think it's what Sandy wanted to see.
And if anyone has ever thought about nightmares being good or bad, then
they're wrong.
Well. All right, and one for unopposed there, one off my house, and then one on the Viper for renown.
And he's given the Knight an intrigue icon and stealth.
And there it is.
So that he can characters with more than one icon still don't count strength.
It's very interesting, right? So giving Knight an intrigue icon makes him 0 strength, but it makes the House Messenger 2 strength.
Yeah.
So now we have an unopposed. Now Wendy can still defend this, and that's important.
But that's another power off of Mel that you're saving from the Nightmare. So we're at 4 power now from the Mel Nightmare save.
It's been good. Nightmare's a wonderful card, and it looks like it's going unopposed, choosing not to block with the Wendy's.
I think that's fair. Keeping a save around, because you've got to assume you're going to Valor next turn, right?
You've got to assume that.
So keeping the save around could be the juice.
Could be good.
I like that, giving the Knight an extra icon. I'm gonna start
wicked.
giving my Dothraki Horse Lord Shade of the Evening.
I really think Wendy should have blocked there, man. I'll be on it. Like, just keeping 1 power off. There's no deadly. There's no worries.
Yeah.
Unless there was stealth that I missed.
Yeah.
I don't think there was.
Because I mean that Wintertime Marauders really isn't gonna matter if you could just kill it.
Yeah, you just kill it. Yeah.
Because Valor's coming. So
yeah.
Why not just tank it? Although it might be worth saving if Valor is coming. He can keep his board in check.
Checking out the Marcella text there. It looks like probably got a military challenge coming in here. It's just my guess. And you notice that Gatehouse was lost to the Intrigue challenge, and this is something that I've finally gotten in the habit of doing, when it's like, if your economy is good enough, there's no reason to play those cards out.
Stop playing more.
Let them. It's just the same, like, if your board is really good, stop playing characters. They can cover the Intrigue challenge for your more important cards, and they can certainly be used later on in the game.
Yeah, because you really just can't afford a situation where you Valor and have 1 card or less in hand. It's just not.
And now we have, I believe, 2 Lost Spearmen and Red Viper coming in on challenge, and I think the host is probably going to have a good time in this one. 9 strength total.
Yeah, it is curious. I don't know that he can win a military challenge against you, so saving Wendy becomes even more curious of a thing.
Exactly.
We'll see if that 1 power matters.
And keep in mind that Mel will not be blanked when it comes time for Dom, so that's a huge consideration here.
So he's at 8 power. If he wins this challenge, he'll be at 9. Dom will get him to 11.
And it's unopposed, and I'm just going to save, and I don't think this is great.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you may be fighting for Dom here.
Yeah, I'm definitely fighting for Dom, but you got to think, so 1 for unopposed and 1 for renown on Viper versus 2 for dominance.
The difference there is he gets the same amount of power, but you get a power in the dominant scenario.
And my assumption is that Red Viper dies to the Valor next turn, so I'm not terribly concerned. And he calls it thinking the save. Yet another cancel that's used in a sense that might not be that significant, but again, gets him +2 closer to dominance, so now that decision that I made could just be 2 power that I chucked.
Well, +2 and you lose 3.
Yes, indeed.
So that's a pretty solid play. It is worth noting, though, if you hadn't saved Wendy, if you had blocked with Wendy, he couldn't have he calls it thinking.
It's true. It's true.
You would have had to still kill someone, but very curious.
And now we're looking at a kill here. Do you use Iron Mines or not? And chose, I think, correctly here, do not use Iron Mines. And I'm also looking to win a power challenge here, because I've got 2 claim with Vic.
Yeah,
it's
very
really
nice.
important. The other problem with that, though, is that Knight of the North.
That
consistent
is a
problem.
Yeah.
And that card just Just so good.
Well, at this point, you're not going to win dominance.
You're not going to win dominance, right?
Well, you could. If you trick him into blocking.
It's all very interesting, right?
Yeah.
But you also don't want to give the Red Viper another power.
Sure.
By letting him defend.
Very interesting. You
Yeah.
also, something to keep in mind here is, what is he at right now? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If he gets Dom, he's at 12. You've got prize 2 on the board. Is Tycho prize 2?
Tycho's prize 2.
That's terrifying.
It's not great.
It's
Iron
not
Mind
great.
saves him, and I've seen 2 he calls it thinking at this point. So
Feeling a little better about
the
your
chances
life.
of Sandy having his last cancel for that Iron Mind save is really quite low. Yeah, just hard math. I should have just opposed that challenge. I think a lot of things should have happened a little bit differently here.
All right, we'll see what you're doing.
There's a lot of just weird decisions, you know.
Do you have any insight into which? Are you doing military here?
I think I would have to do military because otherwise, or Knight of the North just eats it up.
Yeah. 1 claim.
Could Vic in for 2 claim, you know, and that's maybe that saves you from Valoring next turn. But again, why aren't you Valoring next turn?
You know, it honestly might. If you have Tycho out, he could get to the...
And a Nightmares for Vic. Goodness gracious. So we've been through 2 Nightmares and 2 he calls it thinking.
He's
Claims
just letting the
1,
kill
and I
happen.
just don't know the reason for that, honestly. Like, what, you lose a House Messenger? Or a Lost Spearman?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really curious. He's going to get 2 for Dom, so he's at 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, that'll put him at 12.
Interesting.
So we've got the next plot, and we're going to have to think about this one, right? So let's say Valor goes off, and Tycho with prize 2
We get him to
gives
14.
him 2 power. Does he have anything like a Winter Festival or something that would give him power? I'm only guessing.
What's the Lord and Lady plot?
Red Wedding is one that gives power. Into the List would give him power. That's a non-army character that you kneel, so he get into the list the Red Viper for 2 power. And
Wow.
my Valor.
Hey, Red Wedding.
Yep, and there's the Red Wedding. So I will choose a Lord or Lady, and then he will kill 1 and give 1 2 power.
So that's basically Vic and Mel.
And Sandy
Right.
has initiative. He's going to decide which plot goes first here.
So this is really a fascinating interaction.
Yes. Sandy's going to be first player, and he's deciding which plot is going to resolve.
Now, Sandy's out of cards in hand, right? So if you can survive this, you're not looking bad.
Yeah, it looks like he's out.
I think that Nightmares was his final hoorah.
Sandy had a lot of plays here, right? He could Power Blood and try to save the Viper. It makes it really interesting, because if I save Vic there, I could still have 1 claim, and if he doesn't play anything, then Red Viper eats it.
Yeah.
Obviously save the Host and Vic are probably the 2 saves here. But you gotta also save Tycho, or you lose the prize. So you save Tycho with Iron Mind, and then probably save the Host. Take the Renown off the Viper. And that looks fine if he Power Bloods, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah. I think the Red Wedding's really interesting. He's choosing here. So Mel's going to get 2 power. Or he's killing Mel.
Yeah, there's 2. So Red Viper and Mel.
So he's at 14.
Yeah, and
Now-
there's 2 saves.
You're saving Tycho. What I'm curious about there is, does Tycho even actually have prized?
Yeah, it's opponent's characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes it way better.
And the Viper's dead.
Okay.
And you've got to feel great about this right now.
So right now we're at 9 power to 4. Sandy has no cards in hand. You have the better board by far. You don't have any claim this turn. So this is okay.
Yeah, this is looking good. It's still very nerve-wracking to have a deck like this at 9 power. You know they have tools to close those gaps.
Yeah, the interesting part here, though, is, like, unless they have... I mean, you're denying Renown, right?
Yes.
So unless he has a Nightmares or something like that, he's only getting 2 cards. He would have to have a really excellent draw here to at least to win the game here. I think it's going to give you a nice chance for gold to kind of start the road back to the top.
Let's think about a couple other ways this could have gone. One is Sandy doesn't. He calls it thinking the save. And instead he calls it thinking the Iron Mines and wins.
Yep.
The other is he doesn't Nightmares Vic and Nightmares the Iron Mines and wins. So there was a great amount of potential for
just
Sandy to
him to
take this
win.
game.
Yeah.
And this deck is so strong, and you can see how it would be. And I don't get prized, which is what we're resolving right now, because of King Balin's Host being standing. So we're now working it out, and not the least of my concerns right now is how much power is on my house. So I'm just kind of, so how much do I get?
But like, I made it to Valor. Gosh dang it, we're good.
Yeah, but when you're watching this game, you have to give it to Sandy. He had two. The deck is great. Had 2 windows to win this game.
Yeah.
And I think he just misplayed it there, honestly.
Price 1 and Price 2 is like having stealth and deadly. Okay.
It's like Men of Pride on an enemy character.
And now we're talking about, of course, how much power to get.
That's what I was trying to say. You get 1 power from the night. Okay. 1 power from the night.
I think you were at 2 power.
Yeah.
Which is where we ended up getting back to.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're just not counting the keywords there. And since this game is played, Art of Seduction has been restricted, and I don't know that anything else in this combo has. I think there was one other piece, I feel like, that got the hammer.
Do you know what their current restricted card was? Is Viper restricted?
No, still not. Unbelievable, right?
I feel like he should be on the restricted list. Just saying. What is his restricted in this deck?
Yeah, it could be any number of. It could be like an Asha grade.
It's to the Spears.
Yeah, it's to the Spears.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that definitely.
So this deck is torn apart.
Yeah, this deck is just on its knees right now.
Art of Seduction to the Spears can't be done.
Oh.
There's Atlantis. We're gonna take that final card out of hand. And discard Viper's Rage.
That is brutal.
And boy, there's nothing better than 0 cards in hand, you know.
It is the golden goose. Looks like you got a King's Road and whatever that guy's name is, the 1-cost guy.
Yeah, and still have to be careful in case Sandy is running Valor. You don't want to just flood your board out there and have him come back in a very conventional way, because this deck has great characters, great economy. There's nothing stopping it from just winning the normal way either. And then, do you do power or do you get dominance? You probably just take dominance here.
Yeah, I think you just take down, play it safe. No reason to poke the bear.
That's what we're doing. So up
All
to
right.
5.
5 to 9, and you have a significantly better board. If he doesn't have Valor here, it's probably lights out.
You know, you just don't know. You don't know what that deck is packing. I mean, a lot of people do. I didn't at the time. But I'm thinking it's thoughts like Red Wedding, Winter Festival, obviously have Art of Seduction to the Spears, maybe Into the List. So maybe a Wildfire. That's my guess.
So are you thinking...
I'm thinking he's going to Valor here.
Are you planning a plot thinking he's going to Valor?
I think I search and detain the Valor, choose myself, and then Atlantis comes back in. Ooh, Fear of Winter's the restricted. I guess To the Spears isn't restricted, is it? That's crazy.
Oh, maybe it was.
Maybe, yeah.
I think they may have restricted them both.
Just be sure to check.
To deal with this deck.
Yeah. And drawn 2.
All right.
Think about how different that game is if Cold Hands isn't pulled as well, though.
Yeah.
Using Atlantis after draw. So hoping to pull not a Dark Star. Seat of Power, okay. Probably doesn't matter. And I've got a King of the Isles there, and I think I kind of like playing King of the Isles just to prevent any shenanigans from happening. At this point, you're just on edge, right? You came close to death. You knew that it could have been a loss.
The sword was in your body.
And so you just... Yeah, there's King of the Isles going to trigger, so I'll get to cancel any effect. So it's one of those things where you don't run through the library of cards that could hurt you here. You just
don't let any card hurt you.
You don't want anything to happen, especially there's a 2 claim coming at you. You've got military power covered. You've got intrigue covered pretty well. So
yeah, I like it.
Kneeling Ocean Road, not going to cancel the King of the Isles. Sheer Sister's not going to cancel. Shadow Black not going to cancel, and there's a Lost Spearman.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Open up with the military.
Military challenge.
Clean that slate.
No cards in hand. It's opposed, and claim 1.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, there you go. I was like, why is that power coming around?
And then Tycho probably on the power challenge, I imagine.
Yeah, he's got no cards in hand. You're going to get dominance. So
got gold for Dom, yeah.
Just take your 2 power, claim your dominance, and march it on.
2 power. And great power tokens, courtesy of Greg Atkinson. Thanks, Greg. I still have those, by the way. I've been meaning to send you an email.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll see Greg again. Probably at Worlds.
Sandy trying to snipe Dom there. Both of you guys forgetting that you had gold for a second.
Yeah. All right, so barring anything crazy, now what I want to do is close this up before we get back around. And there's At the Gates. That's going to get me Murrin Mirror. And he's, again, a no shenanigans card. So right now you're just shoring up
It's really good.
any kind of holes that could be forming in the boat.
It also just gives you another character
Mm-hmm.
for challenge purposes. He's only going to get 2 cards again. He may get 1 or 2 characters out max. Just more guys.
More guys.
More guys.
He'll get 1 card from now on because of Atlantis. So,
Yeah, that's just brutal.
and heaven forbid, Into the Kneeling Man and Winter comes out, then it's card lock for the rest of the game.
Yeah. If you can just keep him.
Using Atlantis before draw or after draw.
Yeah. There's not much that can be done about that.
Ooh, happy to see that. I know it probably won't matter here, but boy, it's nice. Sandy going first. He's putting 1 into Shadows.
Nice.
Maybe a Black Cells.
That's actually, if you can't win here, that's probably his best way, because that means he could probably have 2 characters out next turn.
Yeah.
If he had that last turn, it would have been much better.
Forgotten Plans in the plot deck there in case the Art of Seduction catches something that's particularly bad. There's Sam. And thank goodness that he calls it Thinking is gone, at least. Give me 2 cards.
Yeah. At this point, you're just trying to...
Another
Tighten the
save.
noose.
That's great. So now if the Valor does happen, I'm not terribly concerned about it. Still would like some Renown guys here, to be honest.
They do close games.
They close games really well.
As it happens.
And there's a Reaver. A little bit risky because of the prize, but also any character you put out is gone, and it will also trigger King of the Isles, so we'll get a cancel this turn.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. He's only got the Shadows card.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to cancel if there's any crazy responses, like even just a Jamie for draw. Any of that kind of thing can be stuck. Choosing not to Shadows there. No cards in hand, no shenanigans. We can swing with confidence here.
yeah. Seems okay.
It's like a power challenge.
You're also going to be getting Dom, so this is just...
We're just
Clean
trying to power it
house.
out before
Yeah.
anything crazy happens.
It's the Greyjoy dream. The open
Intrigue,
sea.
Unopposed. And
The
then
open sea.
military is going to be unopposed. And there's one more, so going to 12, and then we'll
13
get
on
dominance
down.
for 13.
Yeah.
Seeing about Shadows for dominance.
Yeah.
All right, and then one more turn. What plot does Sandy run? This will determine is he actually running Valor or not. And at this point, I think I've built up enough where it shouldn't matter too much. There's Power of Blood, so...
Man, can you imagine if we dropped that earlier on your
On the
Valor?
Red Viper, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? I think that's fine, honestly. We were talking about it earlier. Red Viper keeps the power. I've got Vic out for a claim 1, potentially, if that's how that works. Or Balin's Host stays out, and then he doesn't have Renown.
But I mean, if he's got Power Blood out, you can't,
Oh, wait, actually,
you can't kill Viper.
he's immune to Balin's Host. I found that out, by the way.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But he's also you couldn't kill him. Even with Vic's claim.
Yeah, totally. You're right. But he also has to win a challenge, which
Yeah. But
maybe
I mean,
would've been
if
harder.
you play anybody besides your one Tycho that you save, well, you save 2 characters, so he gets 3. He doesn't heal.
Yep.
So I think that would have been a much more
There was,
interesting
like
choice.
I said, there's a lot of ways that Sandy had to make this way better, and he was saying as much afterwards that there was certainly some misplays there, and
So you're going to get Winner. That's another Raven for draw, right? And it
Another
also
Raven for
turns
draw.
on your King's Row.
Yeah.
Oh man, and another bird.
just don't lose is basically what's happening here. I'm trying to get a Renown or just anything. Just Into the Kneeling Man. It's fun. And just put it all out there.
This is brutal.
And there's Shadows.
What shadows do you run, Jamie?
Jamie, yeah. It's
Nice.
a little anti-Shadows tech there.
That's funny.
And Greyjoy, any card that says draw, you just run.
Did you play a prize card this turn?
No, I did not.
I will discard your receipt.
He's just
All right,
giving you the
discard
2 power.
for prize.
Yeah, nice.
There
Very
you have
nice.
it.
Congratulations, man. That's a well fought game. Making it past that rush is brutal.
Yeah, it's tough, and Sandy had me there. That I think the deck, the Marathian Rush, wins that matchup even with Balin's Host coming out. So it's a terribly strong deck, and I think that's why the restricted list kind of came in and now. So if you're watching this and you're like, I'm gonna run this deck, beware. Just
Don't.
check the restricted list. I don't know when you're gonna be watching this video, but just check the list and make sure it's legal. Thanks guys so much for watching, and thank you to Metagames for hosting a great event. Thanks to Sandy just for coming all the way from New York and getting second at a really tough event. John Bruno was there, Greg Atkinson was there. This is a wild event. So thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you at Gen Con, at Worlds, or at videos in the future.